The ego is the system that runs your sense of self. It is made out of thought patterns, emotions, and behavioral loops, and the stories that try to hold it all together. Left unchecked, it creates endless existential searching, chronic disconnection, and the persistent sense that something is wrong. The goal of my videos is clarity, to see your identity and its contradictions for what they are, named precisely, to finally understand what it is that we're all running away from. The reason most people's lives don't go the way they want it to go is because of the rejection of their own power. Everything is made out of power. Power is not merely a social construct. The fact that anything can influence something else means that power is all around us. Any gust of wind, any atom touching another atom, any fist touching another person's face. There's power everywhere, and it is being exerted everywhere. In the same way that I'm having a certain power over you because you're paying attention to me right now, and I have power over your attention as long as I can hold it, and I can try to manipulate it, tell you some amazing thing you're going to discover in this video, and therefore string you along. The truth is that there is so much power that I want to share, and that's the reason that I'm making these videos in the first place. It's about empowering those who need it. A lot of people think that power is a zero-sum gain, that in order to get more power, you need to take it away from somewhere else. But I like to see it more as a flowing river, and that you are a conduit to all the power that is already available. It's a mindset of abundance instead of scarcity. In this way, you can lift multiple people up at the same time, but you have been taken away the power that you have. Society has taken away your power. It has taken away your power by the algorithms that feed your lies, but also by social stigma, shame, and just societal decency. You're supposed to have a certain level of shame when you talk to other people. You're supposed to not be too offensive, always be kind. You're supposed to always apologize and put your head down when you did something not so nice. You're supposed to be somebody who is easily controllable. And I'm not talking about some grand powers like billionaires controlling society. No, I'm talking about your friends and your family and your parents. How are you being controlled and how are you exerting control? And all of this really relates to your own internal relationship to power itself. Do you ever think about being a powerful person? Do you think about how much power you can exert in this world? How much any single action that you partake affects other people around you? Because it's not just about doing something to another person, but it's also withholding attention, withholding your own compassion, withholding your own availability. A lot of people get just used by everybody around them because they just have no ability to say no. And then saying no becomes a huge power move because it shifts the dynamic between you and others who just use you for, the utility that you provide to them when they are not giving you anything in return. There's nothing more powerful but the ability to say no, to pay attention where you want it to flow and not what everybody else is trying to tell you should pay attention to. So much of what is happening on a day-to-day basis between people is all about unconscious power games. Almost every word that is being spoken has some sort of power connotation in it, and it flows in many intricate and detailed ways. If I ask you for a little favor, like, can you grab me a glass of water? Then already there is a favor being exchanged, and it might not be something that seems like a big of a deal, but unconsciously it does shift the dynamic in a certain way, where now you might feel more either of service of me because now you gave me something, and now you actually are kind of more attached to my own well-being just because you did something for me. Or you might expect to get something in return because you've helped so many people around you, and then they don't reciprocate, and then are you able to withhold your attention and care for what is important to you? And in order to be able to exert this level of personal sovereignty, you need the ability to be shameless. You need the ability to accept yourself. And acceptance here means to accept how much power you truly hold, how much influence you have over yourself and other people around you, and then to embrace this influence. Most people think they are evil for enacting powerful when they show that they are not to be commanded around, but they are able to push and pull. They are able to show what they want and fight for it. These people are being shamed as evil because people do not like to see other powerful people because they feel like it is taking from them away. When I talk about ego, there's an inherent idea of selfishness and the idea of the ego. But selfishness isn't necessarily bad. The most primal drive of everybody alive is to survive. And if you don't survive, nothing else works. And this means that the most selfish desire that everybody has is to survive. It is the base layer that is so taken for granted we never actively acknowledge it. And then above this is the desire for security, safety, recognition, being listened to, being appreciated, being loved. All these are needs that we are constantly fighting for. And they happen in so many small dimensions unconsciously when, we just go through the day. And can you pick out when somebody is trying to influence you? Can you notice when somebody else says something to you just in order to establish a certain dynamic? A lot of it is very much unconscious. A lot of it just kind of happens. And then we pretend that this is just normal human behavior. And in a sense, it is normal human behavior, but it is about power underneath. And the power struggle is precisely the thing we do not like to talk about, because then things get primal, things get kind of ugly, and they show that even if you personally don't have a narrative of wanting to be superior than other people, even if you don't want to be mean to others or assert your own dominance or authority because your ego doesn't need this type of fuel in order to feel secure, you still are within a society where these power plays are being played. And if you want to let true evil, true ignorance, true malice reign supreme, then you are submissive. Then you need to be submissive and just let the powers that be stomp all over you. And then we get to the world that we are today. It is very ironic that the most powerful person on this planet, or let's say the most powerful president on this planet, completely maxed on greed and egoic fuel. It is not an accident that the most powerful people are complete narcissists. Because if you max out on shamelessness and greed, you can get away with anything. As long as you convince others that your frame is the right frame for their own power, then you can get people to come along with anything. And it is precisely because powerful people abuse their own sense of shamelessness and their own sense of greed to, harm other people, that most normal everyday workers feel kind of icky when they have to acknowledge their own ability to be powerful themselves. There is an association that power must, in some shape or form, be evil. But this is not the case. Since we've established, everything already is power. It is not possible to be in this world and not exert power over your environment. Everything you do affects other people, and everything you do affects the space around you, and it has a ripple effect that you cannot predict. You are like the butterfly causing a tornado at the other side of the planet, and you just don't know it yet. To acknowledge your own power is to acknowledge your capacity for evil, the capacity to hurt, and then to decide not to use this power maliciously, to go to those who push you around and tell them no, to go to the inner parts of yourselves that you are rejecting and say yes, to accept that you are okay, even with the ability to hurt another. And this ability within you doesn't make you bad. To be aware of your own power gives you the ability to navigate it in a way that actually serves you and other people around you. Shamelessness is the consequence of true self-acceptance. And if you are a genuinely good person, you understand that other people's lives are as real as yours, and hurting them is just another way of hurting yourself. True awareness of what reality is like means intimate interconnection with all facets of experience. And then there's no reason to just hurt another and take advantage of another to fuel your own sense of self when you know that true hierarchy doesn't actually exist. From this position, then power doesn't become a game of dominating other people for your own narcissistic supply, but it becomes about owning what your sincere will is in this world. What is the change that you want to see in your own life, and then fight for it. You do not to be ashamed of what you want to create in this world. You are truly free to choose. You can do whatever you want, and there is nobody there to judge you but yourself. Every sense of self-judgment is shame that has been used to exert power over you, to keep you small and safe and contained in your own little box. But this little box is a cage, and you only must believe that you can break free. If you want to understand where the edges of your cage lies, check out my ego architecture audit in the link in the description. This PDF explains how my process works. True power can only happen when you are able to understand your own needs and desires and to stand for them, to not fold into yourself the moment somebody challenges you, but to stand firm and to know what you want gives you all the power you need. Because as long as you can be sovereign in your own needs, people won't be able to convince you that what they feel is what you should feel. Shame is the mechanism by which society makes you feel like you are a bad person if you don't do what other people say. This doesn't mean that there isn't some sort of shame that has utility. It doesn't mean that shame doesn't signal something to your own inner knowing, like that you're being looked at as bad by others, for example. But in most cases, it is just a vouch for power, and it's not genuinely that you are a bad person or that you're not supposed to act in this way. The only person that can decide what is a right action is yourself. And if you haven't found the center yet that knows what it wants, then I strongly recommend you take a few hours per day to really question yourself. What makes you wake up in the morning? What are the types of relationships that you're looking to have? What are the types of relationships you want to have in the future? And what do you wish was different right now? And what about the relationship to yourself? Where are you not engaging with your authentic desires? Where do you feel powerless in your own behavior? Because if you have certain loops, like addictive loops, for example, it's very difficult to acknowledge that power because the addictions completely take a hold of your entire sense of being. And then you don't feel like you are powerful at all, since the addiction is what you identified as. Like you need to do whatever the addiction ping tells you to do. Sovereignty in your day-to-day life and in your day-to-day habits is where the sense of power starts. It's small little changes that you do that convince your nervous system that you do, in fact, have the freedom to choose. And it starts with little things. For example, if you wanted to work out or live healthier for a while now, and you haven't done this, and you always tell yourself, oh, I want to finally work out, or I want to finally go to bed earlier, or I want to finally do whatever it is. The only thing you need to do is go against your current pattern. If your pattern has been to not exercise for the last 5 months or 8 months or 2 years, then all you need is 5 minutes of exercise to tell your nervous system and your body that you have the ability to exercise. The amount of frequency is irrelevant. The same with wanting to be more creative, like wanting to create your own YouTube channel, or wanting to create your own business, or wanting to write a book. If you haven't started, starting is a big deal. It changes the entire dynamic from something that is just conceptual to actually exerting power in the world. The outcome is always irrelevant. You do not need to think about the outcome whatsoever. All you need to do is stand on your own principle and act on that principle. And then you see that this power is always within you. People always use this idea of determinism to dissolve their sense of power over the world. They sense that their own unconscious basically makes the choices for them, and therefore there's not really the ability to exert, their own free will. But all this is just a lack of understanding of their own unconscious. If you truly understand how you operate, and then you understand what it is that you want, all you need is alignment between these two things, and then you will feel like you have free will, because you're aligned with what you want, and you understand your unconscious impulses, and you're not driven by some invisible wall that doesn't let you go past it.